Hey everyone, this is Jairo Morales from The Grind Fitness and welcome to my channel. On this channel, you're gonna learn how to take care of your body while we do this wonderful sport called Jiu-Jitsu. Everything from joint strength training classes to mobility classes, as well as yoga and many other professionals to teach you what is the best path for you and your Jiu-Jitsu journey. If you haven't already, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. You know what to do. Share this with somebody if you think this might help the community to be able to take care of their body for their journey on Jiu-Jitsu. Oos, guys. Hope to see you on the mat. Hey, what's up, guys? So welcome to JiuJitsu Fingers. So if you've never done any of my classes before, most of the classes are recovery classes, but they're like joint specific. So today we're going to talk about JiuJitsu Fingers. So the first part of it is understanding the concept. So I'm hoping everybody can hear me because I haven't done the mic check in a minute. And basically, still hurts from that shit. What's up, Martin? So you got to kind of understand the concept of what your fingers are. Your fingers, each individual phalange is basically a joint. So learning how to actually work your muscles from training a ton of gi, what ends up happening is that you get a lot of basically sideways bending, overuse in one direction compared to the other. So you have to actually kind of focus on doing a lot of consistent therapy on your fingers. So that's one of the things that I kind of I do on a consistent basis, just because I try not to take my fingers unless it's like an injury. So if you see today, I actually have a basketball. I kind of learned this from my nephew. My nephew is an ex-college basketball player, and he showed me something that they do for fingers. So we're gonna go through that in just a second. So the first thing we're gonna start with is all I want you to do is we're basically gonna just warm up our fingers by just making a huge fist. So I want you to kind of think that you're bending your fingers at one knuckle at a time, and you're just rolling your fingers down, and then you're opening them up. Okay, so we're just going back and forth. We're just waking our fingers up. Okay, this is where you want to learn what's wrong. Like for me, I have on this side, my pinky's a little jammed up, and on this side, it's my middle finger. So this is where you kind of learn. So like pain or the discomfort that you're feeling is your body telling you that something's wrong. So you got to understand that when you feel like that constant discomfort from your fingers, it's something that you may have torqued one finger in one particular direction, or you may have strained some type of musculature. You may have kind of shifted one of the joints in one direction compared to another. So this is stuff that you have to actually kind of focus on in order for you to be able to kind of do the correct therapy on yourself. Okay? So you're going to obviously need a basketball. So the way he kind of showed it to me, which is kind of ingenious, the lovely part about these little ridges right here is that I can kind of put my fingers around it. So what you want to actually do is I'm actually trying to spread my fingers. So for this particular pinky here, okay, I have a little bit of a strain on the inside of my actual pinky. That's where I actually feel the discomfort. So what I end up doing is I end up trying to stretch that position, and I spread my fingers over the basketball to basically create this artificial rounding of my finger to get into that niche spot from it. Okay. So just like if you ever taken any of the shoulder or the hip stuff that I've done, we do pails and rails. Pails and rails are just isometrics, okay? So it's basically the same concept here. So in this particular case for my finger, your fingers are obviously going to be different because everyone has, depending on what kind of injury they have on their finger. For me, it's right here on this pinky finger on the inside or the medial side of the actual finger, okay? What I'm actually going to do is I want to push or lean into that, a little bit of that discomfort. So what I do is I stretch it. So I sit in here for a little while and I stretch the finger. And then at a certain point, I start to try to actually push into the discomfort. And the same kind of load, the 10% load, 20% load, 30%, 40% load. So I'm going to do it with you. Not that big of a deal. Obviously, whatever version of this you're going to do for yourself, this is just a guideline for you to kind of figure out how to like do therapy on yourself. Okay. From here, all I'm going to do is now start pushing my finger into the ball. And then I just maintain the isometric. So I'm actually trying to squeeze the ball, but I'm leaning into the inside of the finger to basically strengthen where that section of my finger was strained. And I keep kind of pressing and maintaining it. Remember, the first round is longer duration, lower intensity. Okay, 3, 2, 1. And now I try to open it up more. So I literally try to bend my finger backwards and open up more. And then what I try to do is then when I bring my finger back down, I'm trying to get into an even more stretched position. Okay. And then you repeat 10%, 20%, 34%, 40%. And then you maintain it. And then you slowly start to increase the intensity as you go along. The goal here is to find those little tender spots and kind of poke at it a little bit, but in a good way. You're doing isometrics so that the muscle has to learn to contract in order for it to get stronger again because it's injured. You're basically telling the musculature to get stronger so that it can repair that like strain or that it could be a micro tear, it could be a tendon issue, it could be a muscular issue. There's like very intricate muscles within your hand. And then you're going to bend your finger backwards again. Spread the fingers out again. And then from there, I now hold it. So this is where the mind over matter happens here, okay? Once I'm in a fully stretched position, I already did a couple of the pails and the rails, just squeezed, open up my hand. Now what I got to do is I got to tell the musculature with my thought process. Sounds crazy to think like this, but I literally look at my hand and I tell the musculature of my fingers to relax. And it takes a little while, but you can eventually literally see where the musculature, where at least for me, where this is strained, where it looks like the muscle looks strong because it literally is. It's basically the musculature around your phalange or the little intricate finger part. What ends up happening is that it gets tight. And so it's like you can feel the actual muscle tension. So you have to like tell your nervous system to just relax your hand. And then all of a sudden, you'll start to literally feel and see your fingers start to open up. And then all of a sudden, like with this one, my mid-knuckle of my pinky was really large and fat because there was a lot of muscular strain on one section and it was causing inflammation onto that one middle section of my pinky joint. But now, since I've been doing this with this basketball, now my finger is now getting a little bit straighter. The musculature around it is getting softer. And when it gets softer, then the inflammation on that middle joint gets reduced, and then the pain starts to dissipate. Cool. And then you're going to go back to what we started with. Go right back to the opening up the hand, bending the fingers backwards, making a fist, creating the back and forth movement. For me, this is very difficult. Okay. Then you're going to do the same thing on the opposite hand. With this hand, it's on my middle finger. So I can feel, I'm going to kind of show you, I can feel where, not in the center of my finger, where I strained on the outside of my finger, the musculature, literally my finger got kind of bent a little bit sideways here. So I can tell that there's a little bit of strain here. So that's where you have to learn how to like understand the discomfort or the pain that you feel in your fingers or any type of joint. Like listen to your body. Your body has like a pain dialogue with you to let you know like what might be wrong. Now the pain is not like injury. It's like a constant discomfort. It's the best way to kind of describe it. So you do the same thing. So I'm going to do a quick version of the same thing. Spread your fingers, find little spots, find how I can actually attack that little bit of discomfort. Then you do the same thing. Pails and the rails. So you're pushing to the ball, you're squeezing the ball, and then you're reversing the rails part, and you're trying to expand your fingers more. You know, everyone is going to be a little bit different. So this is not like a class. This is for you to understand this conceptually so that you can do this on your own. So the investment of this basketball, whatever it is, and you buy it on Walmart or Amazon or whatever, for you to basically take therapy of your fingers when you do like heavy jiu-jitsu sessions will pay dividends year over year. That's what this idea behind this is. Okay. Then the last thing you're gonna do, we did the same thing. You're now doing this hand, blah blah blah. You're going back and forth, bending, straightening. And then there's another thing that they do that they literally call it in basketball called soft hands. And all you're doing is you're passing the ball back and forth to yourself. Okay, and then you can add in like doing this type of thing and doing it overhead, whatever it may be. And what it does is it creates dexterity in your fingers. Because what happens is that because of all the gripping in jiu-jitsu, we basically get like an iron fist. The problem is we lose a little bit of that finite movement, that little bit of dexterity that you need to be able to control certain things. So you'll see like a lot of the old school jiu-jitsu guys, like I train with Mario Sperry once in a while. The guy's got an iron hand. He'll crush your hand with his grip. But when he used to tell me when he was younger, he would be holding like a glass and he's accidentally broken like a glass, just holding onto the glass. And that's because his musculature has gotten very powerful with the grip, but he's lost a little bit of dexterity in order for him to have that finite movement. Okay? So that's another thing that you can do. It also helps with doing this, you know. And again, you don't have to do this a lot. But if you're going to do a little bit of therapy on one hand, do a little bit of therapy on the other hand, do the pails and the rails, you're doing this type of action, you want to finish off with doing like some little bit of dexterous movement where your fingers have to like control the descent, your elasticity of your hands. And then all of a sudden you'll feel like the muscle tissue around your fingers start to kind of get a little bit soft. That's why they call it soft hands. And that's what you want. So you got to kind of create that equilibrium within your fingers. Okay, guys? That's kind of it for today. This was more of a conceptual kind of class so that you understand exactly what you can do. And then using like just a basic thing called a basketball. Those guys. Let me know if you have any questions. And we'll be talking soon. Hold on a second while I outro. If you haven't already, you know what to do. Subscribe, share this with somebody in the jiu-jitsu community. And then keep an eye out. There's a whole bunch of content that's going to be coming out soon. I'm going to do some interviews with some other people, as well as I'm going to have like a whole nutritional segment that's going to teach you how to like diet for if you're a competitor or just kind of diet for jiu-jitsu by a registered dietitian to give you a little bit of like guidance. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.